It's very important to understand that the mid-range is a very good shot when uncontested. You know, so when you're a smaller guard and you attack the hoop and you get defense to collapse on you and the bigs, that your other teammates are open for mid-range jump shots that are uncontested. And those are very good shots. Okay. It has to be consistent. It has to be consistent. The kid has to know it's there. They have to, like I was watching the game the other night with the football game, and what's his name? Rogers didn't go to Metcalf when he dropped the pass when he was wide open on. And what you got to be is be like me and Kate, me with Booney, and don't worry, I'll get you another, and don't worry, boy, I'll get you another hot dog. It's important to build trust. You're not going to hit every pass, you're not going to get every pass off, you're not going to get away from every sack, and your teammates aren't going to catch every pass. And the more you think you demand out of yourself, and then when you think you demand it out of others, the less reasonable as a human being you are. And so you've got to be very reasonable. If you think you have confidence in yourself when you're being selfish, that's wrong. So you got to learn to kick and get your confidence and get your teammates going that way and stuff, and it helps. It helps a lot. It's a natural reaction because sometimes, when you get that and it doesn't happen, it's because it's not, they have that kick out for the three, but they don't have that, for the mid-range jump shot. And that's how I used to get a lot of my teammates, a lot of their points was, to attack and give them an open shot, even through mid-range when you're playing with good players. With Booney or Perry or, some of those guys, I had to get it right under the basket for a layup. But with John Lichty or Tony, I could get them 5-footer and 6-footer. It's going to go in. They're going to make it. And they're going to get a shot. They're going to get it up, and they're going to put it up. If not, it's a good shot. And me and Charlie were good, and John are good. We're in good rebounding position for the offensive rebound and stuff. And so, you just got to understand, analytics says certain things, but that's when you're playing with certain type of athletes. But if you find you have an advantage athletically to attack the hoop, look for that mid-range jump shot for your teammates. It's going to be uncontested a lot of time. And so you have to look at your matchups, and then you have to watch and see how they're going to go. You can look on film, but it doesn't always translate well on film. Doesn't always work that way. And then so you have to see where it is, and then you evaluate during the game. Usually I do it during the game, but there's times they have time adjustments. But I'm like my dad, or I'll do this. Okay, and it happens. And then, but sometimes it takes your teammates a while to catch up. What are you doing? And you got to sit them down and talk to them. And, not everybody thinks on the fly and acts like you do, kid. So it's hard for them to adjust and to be where and what. Okay. And so, but when it comes to something as simple as a drop, okay, don't worry, boy, I'll get you another, right? Okay, that's what teammates do. That's what good teammates do. If you don't learn that by the time you're in your 40s, you're just not a very good teammate. You're not going to have good relationships. You're not going to have lasting relationships with people that are capable of having lasting relationships with you. Like Joe Kingman with Morris Chestnut's character on Bedazzled. Game Plan, right? Okay. So, you just knock it out the box, Ralph. Knock it out, Ralph. No, I didn't think that little Jordan Sapien I thought she had an excellent game. I just thought that, that was something that was there that she wasn't seeing. So as a coach, we got to point that out and say, hey, you do that. It'll work. We'll get it done. And then it'll make more of a threat for your teammates once that happens, and they can't collapse as much on you in defense, and then you have easier opportunities, and that also creates the opportunities for your bigs. So, always, options, make them have to deal with more options, and then it makes you even better. Okay. So do that. So it was cute. Yeah. They played well. The other team was just very talented. The little Miss Jackson kid was hard for any of them to stop. So was the Willis girl. And, the Jackson girl is quick as a lot of the smaller girls she's bigger and she's quicker and she's athletic. She was just as good, and she could get herself into things where they couldn't do anything about it. And she knew it, and she was going to give herself, and her teammates were going to set up with options to do it. And they did. And so it's it's one of those things where it was just, things had to go really right for one team and things had to go not as right for the other, and it didn't happen. And so you're like, okay, but the effort was good. And so, yeah, look at the little girly girls playing basketball, right? And so, yeah, it's cute, but what can you say? But what was I going to talk about here earlier? I remember watching some things before I was watching the girly girls play basketball. Shoot. It's important. I'll probably remember it later. But I like basketball. They had the other thing on there. They had this guy, and it said, this dumb idiot, whatever, at the post office, right? And she was doing, this lady comes up and says, anybody here to receive a package or pick up a letter or anything? Is anybody here to pick up? Right? And then the lady goes, I'm here to pick up, renew my passport. So not to pick up, or maybe to pick one up, get one, who knows? So, but it wasn't mailing anything out. So she's waiting in the line thinking, am I in the line where people are mailing things out? Is there another line that they would open up that deals with different things? And this guy goes out and in the car and bitches about her and talks about how stupid she is for 2 minutes. 6,000 people agree, right? Okay, just forget that and trespass level on eternal faithful peace. What do you need a passport for? Why are you mailing this stuff? For economics. What's economics? Explain it to Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. Oh my. They explained to Pharaoh just how insane he was. They explained to Caesar just how insane he was. They proved it to him beyond any reasonable doubts. And for some reason, we're still living Pharaoh's and Caesar's bullshit. Because you're trained and conditioned to think they're intelligent and you have to do as they say and wait in line. Fall in line. Fall in line. What about the idiot in line? Why are you in line? Oh, I hate being in line, and I understand when people don't want to be there. Okay, well, then stand up for the Lord's Prayer. Okay, then we won't line up to be, okay, you've got to have this. I got to know who you are. I've got to know if you're certified. If you don't have a thing for certification, I will incarcerate you. That's happened to me. Or that happened to me in Las Cruces. I was incarcerated because they told me to get a New Mexico ID when I had a valid Arizona ID that I paid for in Arizona that was still valid for like 4 years or 5 years when they told me I need to get a New Mexico ID because you're here in New Mexico. Said, if you give me a job in New Mexico, one of you assholes who engage in human trafficking and, then I will get a New Mexico an ID to pay my extortion here instead of in Arizona. But they didn't do that. And then when I was out doing that, they said, you can't be driving with a valid Arizona ID looking for a job in New Mexico. And they locked me up. And then when I went to court, the judge dropped all charges because it was illegal. But my brother-in-law and my sister still had to pay $200 to get me out of jail. And no, I know I never paid them back because that was a lesson they had for doing business with having Susanna Martinez pay for their son's college. And that's a lot more money than $200. So it's a pretty cheap lesson to get with criminals to lock up the Messiah for $200, since she paid for his college, right? And now he's doing NIL for New Mexico State, right? And me, I'm, Jesus, protect us, keep us safe. Jesus, and I can't do everything for all people. I can only turn on the light and say, here's the way to not being murdered through stress, not being murdered by their toxins. Okay. I couldn't protect my mom from it. Okay. But by January 22nd, 2013, I could protect other people from it. If they listened to me, they could have put themselves in different situations and aligned themselves with different people. Okay, that they wouldn't be as stressed about what they were doing. They would understand what was going on. They wouldn't stress about it, and they would relax, and they would get into situations that didn't have as toxic or stressful environment. Yeah, So, but no, people, oh no, they know better. What do you know? You don't have a job. You do this. Yeah, I understand. I can survive, stop, and eliminate abuse and recover from abuse better than any other person on the planet. And I was not aware of this until it's actually happening, right? Because I'm not sick enough to put other people into this kind of condition, right? That's insane. The big thing that I was going to talk about earlier that I said is important and I do need to talk about is this, and we've talked about it before. Okay. When you are on TV, we have quantum computing now. James Christian Kimmel, MSNBC, Hannity, Faulkner, Fox News. I don't know any of the names under Anderson Cooper, whoever, whatever, whenever, wherever, Dervin Muir, right? Lester Holt, the Today Show, whatever. This is the 21st century. It's the year 2026. Right? When you complain about economic genocide to make money off of economic genocide in front of quantum computing, and you complain about the circumstances, did you participate in the circumstances and are you still participating in the circumstances? Okay. Well, then you're responsible for Donald Trump and what he does. You accepted the contest, you participated in the contest, and he's the result of the contest. There's your American Idol winner. There's your America's Got Talent. There's your winner of Dancing with the Stars. You accepted the contest, you participated in the contest, and you accept the results of the contest. Murderers. Okay? I know a murderer when I see one. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. I am the truth, and I am the way, and I am the life. Okay? I know what I'm doing. Okay? I know I'm going to not be out with a stargazer for the next 2 centuries or millenniums, half partly metal, partly real, silver hawks. That's all just crazy bullshit. Okay, and that's one of the cool things about looking at from July or January 22nd, 2013. Okay, is looking at all the look at Silverhawks, look at Thundar, look at 2000 whatever, A Space Odyssey. Look at 1984. Look at Jules Verne. Okay. Look at 2525. Okay. Look at all their predictions. Okay, that are off because they're not faithful and they're not a part of the Gospels. Right. Look at all their predictions that are wrong. Okay. And look at what is right. Okay. You're either faithful or you're not faithful. You're either truthful or you're not truthful. If not now, then when? A love promise for days to come is as good as none. You can't promise to love somebody tomorrow. Okay, if you don't love them today, right? So, I don't like a lot of people because they say they love you, and then they go to brain chemical addiction of smoke. So I don't like them. You just go snort cocaine and fuck assholes. I love you, but I don't like you. Okay, my wives are that way. Both my wives are that way. Okay, Steffi used to go to the bar. I'm the hottest thing at all the bars, and you're just jealous. I've had more sex with more women in the last year since we got divorced than you've had your whole life. You're just jealous. I was like, Steffi, you got mad because your mom went out looking for somebody to help raise you. It took her a while, but she came back with Shelby, and he was never good enough. But the asshole who got your mom pregnant in a bar in Kansas in the military was a better man. Okay. How the hell is the asshole that got your mom pregnant and left and never showed up again better than the man she met who showed up and did his best to take care of you, even though he was abused by assholes through racism? How the fuck is the sperm donor better than King Shelby Henry? It's possible. Just because he didn't live up to your comic book character invention you made in your head that fucked your mom and left, okay, doesn't mean there's anything with I'll color this man father, I'll color this man father. You couldn't get much of a better, and he wasn't abusive. He was emotional. Okay. Slowly I turned. Don't say used to Noilers Abbott, right? So, but he was a sweetheart. Right? He was kind and protecting and not abusive. He had some problems with alcohol and marijuana to survive it, that cut his life short with the toxins from the abuse from having sex at the airport in detailed cars because rich people are vain, right? And the chemicals that involve doing that, okay? They will make you sick, okay? At the car wash, talking about the car wash. Why didn't Ivan Dixon tell us this? Why didn't Dukes tell us this? What's the matter with these people? The running man is still running, right? So you got to understand these people, and you got to understand yourself, and you got to understand what's wrong with you, okay? And why it's wrong with you, and why it's still wrong with you, and why you're still accepting the wrong and completely ignoring the right, right? Choose the right. Fuck you, Quorum of the 12, and your little dog too, okay? I don't have to, you do it to yourself, right? I'm just going to forget about you. I'm not going to ask for your help because I just don't feel like you're ever going to show up. I used to sit there and thought there might be some that want to. Now I'm like, no. What if some of your friends in Mesa are part of the Quorum of the 12? My nephew helped present cases to the Supreme Court, now does NIL for New Mexico State. Right. My other nephew last Thanksgiving told me that I was going to die before we lived the Lord's Prayer here on planet Earth, that I won't be here. And he talked to me to get me to accept him as Jesus, God in his head, and I didn't accept it. So he said I was going to die and wouldn't be able to live in the kingdom of heaven with him here on earth, after he didn't put any of the work in and I put all the work in. Forgive them 7 times upon infinity. I do. But David Rockefeller collects all the evidence, and you carry the cell phones. I don't carry cell phones to collect all the evidence when I talk. Other people bring their cell phone with them. I give you, the Lord wishes you privacy, and so do I, and I happen to be the Lord. So when I talk to you about the Gospels, I don't bring a cell phone for the Rockefeller Foundation and the Patriot Act to collect the evidence of our private conversation. But you do. You do. This is a computer I use at home to correct the Gospels on quantum computing worldwide. I don't carry it with me when I talk to you privately about the Gospels because I love you. You have the opportunity to submit to faith and glory of God or have no idea at all, right? It's completely up to you, right? Do you understand how perfect, how beautiful, how amazing, how wonderful the Messiah's love is? I don't think a lot of you do, because that cartoon character in your head that watches everybody be mass murdered over participating in popularity contests over genocidal philanthropy, he's not real. The Vatican is full of shit, man. The Quorum of 12 is full of shit, man. Okay, forget about their bullshit. Go home. Make sure their technology knows I believe in a living Messiah. I have his faith. I share his faith. And I want every day to try my best to be like him so my children can live like him and not live like the devil and Satan enforce on us by participating in their popularity contest over genocidal philanthropy. Right? So right on. Marvin Gaye, right on. Boom, 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 boom. For those of us who live in such a... Okay? For the man who has pride in his God, it's not his God. And the man who has pride in his faith, because it's right and it's righteous and good, and the love of his faithful family and everything else. I'm just fixing the lyrics, man. Okay. It was just tribalism. It happened with Bob too. Some of the things I had to go through linguistically and correct them. Like me and that guy talked about the other day about Tupac, about only God can judge me. It's like, no, the guy with the eggs. No, that's not true. I can judge you. If you'll sit there and take money from genocidal operators to have sex with shallow people, I can pass judgment and say, oh, I don't want to do that. I'll just quit playing basketball. I'll go online and do the Gospels anonymously, LY, and correct all your data centers so we never have to have them again. And the quantum computing is just a way to process, share, and do information quicker that doesn't use as much energy, doesn't require as much water. It's need to know kind of thing. The traffic and the data accumulation, if we don't have the debt and trespass and we don't have constant marketing and stuff like that, is going to be greatly reduced. and the computers, well, the quantum computing will work so much more efficiently and help us make sure that this girl's not getting raped by her own brother or father in Idaho and doesn't have to go end up going, hey, cabrón, I'm in Yale. Now I'm a best-selling author. Okay, ¿tú entiendes? Muy bien. Okay. Órale! If Nana really does believe in the living Lord, she just pow-powed you. Okay? Well, life's eternal and grace is infinite, right? Yeah, that was goaltending. He got it after it hit the glass. So I'm watching Cats Nights. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta hit the button here. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I couldn't turn away. I had to keep watching the little girls. I think I'll watch. I think I'll watch. I'm kind of nervous to watch St. Edward's and St. Mary's because I'll watch them get destroyed. But I may. And but I think they might have a good chance against Sul Ross to get their first win. So we'll give it a look. See the little girls. I'll start watching more of the girls' games too. I love girly girls. They're so cute. Yeah, I like when at New Mexico State I started going to the girly girls game, and I'd meet them when I'd go to the basketball facilities and talk to them too. I've seen Oklahoma Christian. I know they have a good basketball team. So yeah. And it's for me, it's hard to believe that no one offered, like Coach Bunker said, no one offered No Brown a scholarship. And you're like, the kid's got Division I talent. He's good. Okay. No, he's very quick. He's a very good defender. I knew Tony Jackson. No's a little bigger. He's bigger though. Yeah. Isaiah. Isaiah Brody is a good ball player. There's certain things that he has to work on. That at the 1 or 2 level, I think he has more capacity to work on the things that he needs to work on at the Division II level because he has more freedom to play without getting benched because there's less pressure to win in Division II than there is in Division I with that kind of with him being able to develop his game, and he can develop it better in the Division II level than he can at the Division I. So, I think it's a good fit for him. And like Andre's a very good big for Division II level too. He's a very good ball player. He could play at Division I, but he would probably be a practice player and a bench player more. But I don't know, some of these guys, it's different. It's weird. You watch them and you go, okay, they definitely have the talent, but it can be a real pain in the ass to pay at Division I level. And Silver City is a nice community when you're in the dynamic that they're in. But it's most kids leave because the business is cutthroat. Because it's a nice community and it's pristine and less polluted, and so people fight like hell to stay there, so they don't go die from the stress in San Antonio or Tucson, but they kill themselves with the stress they invent in Silver City. Yeah, I know. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go watch the game. All right, I love you very much.